Hey, Sammy.
Hello, 1 2 1 2. Mic testing,
I can hear you all right.
and we are streaming to YouTube as well.
Good morning, New Zealand. How are you doing?
Good, very good. Getting hotter here.
Yeah, that's so strange. I, I mean, I'm well aware that your summer is during our winter, but
Mhm.
I forget. Uh, so, are you excited for summer?
Oh yeah, very. Although maybe because of climate change, like our summers recently have been very strange and different to how it normally is. It's normally a bit dry, so it doesn't rain much, and we get a lot of sun during summer. But nowadays we've been getting really bad downpours, like um yeah, really concentrated downpours, which resulted in like flash floods all over the city. So yeah, hopefully less of that this year.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, I have YouTube up and going. I'm watching both the chats.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're ready to get started.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
And for those of you who weren't here last time, we're just going to have the chats going. So if you have any questions about the development of Spirit of the North 1 or the development of Spirit of the North 2, you can just ask there, and I will answer them as best I can, or Sammy will.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sammy's first time playing, and Sammy is one of the devs for Spirit of the North 2, and he's well acquainted with the lore between for the first game, and he's seen most everything, and we talk. We have many conversations about the lore for the game, so he's well aware what the story is. But as far as actually playing it through, being behind the controller, this would be the first time.
I like this valley. Oh. Infuse.
Out of everyone in the chat, I'm curious who thinks they've played the game the most, start to finish.
Woohoo!
There's definitely, I recognize a lot of the faces here, and I know some of you have put in many hours. How many Steam hours have you guys played? Foxy Pup, almost 50 hours, 49.7. That's a lot. Well, that's true. If you're modding the game or playing outside of Steam, yeah, it wouldn't be tracked. 90 hours. 90 hours. Nice. That's a lot.
I'm I'm actually curious about the music for the first game.
Yeah.
Because when I'm working these days, I've been having playlists that Arki kindly put up on YouTube of the first game. And yeah, I really like the music. And I was wondering about like how you came to meet the composer and like the inspirations for some of the tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I can do my best. I'm obviously not the composer, but I can tell you how I know him. So I believe he's going by REJ now for his composer handle. And I know him as Joseph because he's one of my friends. And we were roommates in college. And he's very, very talented musically. He's got a great singing voice, and then he's very, very good at drumming and very good at piano. And so all the when we started developing, I can't remember exactly how I wrapped him into it or pulled him in, but that's where it started. I was, I obviously lived with him for a few semesters and was well aware that he was very musically talented. So he didn't have a lot of the more technical skills, but he was sort of in the process of developing those at the time of Sphere of the North. And so a lot of the soundtrack for this game is recorded live. It's him playing, and I believe he did some edits. I couldn't speak in detail, but he wrote these songs, at the piano or at his MIDI. So yeah, there's a lot of emotion in them, and I think that's just because he literally wrote them by playing them.
Is he the same age as you?
Roughly. He's a few years younger, but yeah. So at the time, he was one of my best friend's little brothers. But now, I mean, as you grow older, that becomes less of a thing. We're all adults now. But yeah, I saw him in the comments earlier today. But he doesn't spend a lot of time on Discord, or at least on our channel. But yeah, really cool soundtrack. And I know one of our fans, I think by the handle of Tom, took one of the songs. Can't remember which ones. I think it's "Breathe" and maybe the main theme. He wrote them out. As sheet music, yeah.
Oh, right.
But I don't read sheet music, so I can only assume it's good. It looks good. Alright. Alright.
Did you say last time the Wisp was a later edition? I can see it sort of guiding me. Reload.
So the Wisp, well, yeah, let me explain the Wisp a little bit. So when we first started concepting the game, the original concept was your guide was going to be the Spirit of the North, the Spirit Fox. And due to so this might be a shock for some, but when you're developing a game, you work around your limitations, and a lot of times your limitations become the design for the game, and that's the only way to actually be productive and get things done. So with the Spirit Fox, we didn't have time to animate it, and we didn't have the skill set to do so because we're not animators. So in the very first game, like, it's actually recording, like, all of the Spirit Fox's movements through the level are recordings of us playing a fox and moving through the level, and then sort of linking those together. And then as we move forward to the other levels, we were like, this really isn't going to be feasible when you have when the paths branch a little bit, and there's it's still linear but not as linear. And so we decided, like, well, maybe she could just be a wisp. And so that sort of became part of the story, and that's then you get obviously that her becoming a wisp in chapter 2 is a big part of her sacrifice to save you and whatnot. So the limitations of what we can do as devs, and the story and the gameplay, like, it's all like interwoven, and it kind of grows together. But yeah, in our original concept, she was going to be a Spirit Fox the whole time. But of course, that was very, very early when we didn't know what the story was going to be about. Katie, or Katia 666 asks, when will the second part of this wonderful game be released? I'm guessing Spirit of the North 2 we've not announced a release date yet. But hopefully very soon. I can say it won't come out this year. So if you're hoping it would come out before Christmas, I hate to say it, but it won't, unfortunately. But we're working hard to get it polished up and make sure it's going to be everything that it should be. And then, sorry, back to your question about the Wisp. We did do a update shortly after the game came out for the Wisp, so that it basically, we added more trails, and so it would bring more things to your attention. Before that, it was kind of just your companion where it just followed you around and helped you with your spirit bark and gathering spirit bloom.
Oh, yeah. I can see spirit form is different in this game.
From what game?
Oh, what?
No, don't
I was like, oh.
Oh, what are you comparing it to?
Oh, the imaginary game that
No, I would assume that most people would guess that spirit form would come back in the sequel. Though I don't know if we've shared anything about it.
We haven't actually.
Oh, now we know it's different. Yeah, it's a little different.
Ooh.
Is there anyone in the chat who has never played Spirit of the North 1?
Oh.
What? This question. I have a question. Would Grimnir have bad breath?
That is a very,
I don't know. A very good question. He
very
wears a
good
mask.
question.
Oh, he wears a mask, so we'll never know. We'll never know.
He will know.
Yeah. They So we made this game before the pandemic, or at least the majority of the game was created before the pandemic. We released it on Switch, sort of, and Xbox around the time the pandemic was starting. I think it was just before. Anyway, it's just funny because with the plague and everything in the story, it's like, wow, this is very
Finally.
close to home. Yeah. So maybe the shaman had a 6-foot rule. After you visit the city in the Valley of Stone, you have to go into quarantine before you're able to come back to work. Bubby says they never actually played it. It's time to play it.
Oh wow. That's so cool.
In the game,
stone animations.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it. It shows the fox sleeping, and it shows it awake. Yeah, Foxy Pup says, I did a second run as a Let's Play recently. Hadn't played it for a long time. I did see that pop up on my YouTube, actually. That's fun. Yeah, it can be. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since the game came out, but it has been 5 years. It has been 5 years. That can be a whole separate lifetime. When this game came out, I'd only been married, well, I guess I was somewhat of a newlywed. I had one baby. Now I have 4 kids and am old and use a walker. Okay.
Where am I going?
People are saying they can't wait to play the second game. Played the first one 4 times. I've often wondered about these puzzles. If I wonder, by show of hands from everyone watching, how many of you just guessed until you got it right, or how many of you understand the puzzle? And for those of you watching on YouTube, there's going to be a slight delay from when I see your response to when I respond, or fairly significant delay. But if you join our Discord, I'll see it in real time.
Oh. To be quick.
Obi says, I also realized the Spirit of the North has similar vibes to another game called Sky, Children of Light. Yeah, so
have you played that game?
I haven't played it. I believe it's made by, is it made by Giant Squid? I know it has I believe it's the same devs who made Journey and Abzu.
Oh, is it?
And Pathless.
Oh.
Let me double check that.
I think I played it on mobile.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I just need to be quicker.
Oh no, it's made by that game company. Somebody correct me. Sky is made by the same devs that made Journey, right? I mean, it's got it feels very, very similar. It's got to be. Yes, same as Journey, says Hexhound. It's hard to know, like, because studios change names or they get more devs or devs leave. So it's hard to know exactly who's making it, but there's got to be at least a few of the same minds behind it. Maybe not. I don't know.
Oh no! Do that.
Foxy Pup says, to be honest, I never understood the pillars. I just turned them twice and it worked. Yeah. Some of them you can just turn around a couple times and they'll get it. I haven't actually been watching what Sammy's been doing. Sammy, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get through that door that I saw, and oh, is there a blocking?
No, you're kind of going back. If you go straight up this way, there's a door under that bridge that opened. Is that the one you saw? I believe. Yeah, but some of the puzzles you'd have to get three or so correct. So I guess you could still guess many, many times. Bubby asks, wondering if there'll be a fox morph that looks like this in the game. It's I believe that's a platinum fox or silver fox. Not in the first game. Possibly in the second game. I'm still actively creating different skins and cosmetic rewards for the second game, and I'll probably continue to make them even after the game releases. What animals besides the guardians are in this game? So the game we're watching right now is actually Spirit of the North 1 that came out 5 years ago. So in this game, there are no other animals, and there's only one guardian. In the sequel that we're working on, Spirit of the North 2, we've released a little bit of information, and there are at least 6 guardians that we've talked about. And there are a few other animals in the world.
Oh, keep forgetting.
Some raccoons.
Oh.
Raccoons are one of my favorite characters in the second game. They have a
Ooh,
little more personality.
here's a question for you. Do the raccoons have a guardian?
Do the raccoons have a guardian? Kind of. So yeah. So this isn't canon. Don't treat anything of this. Anything I say on this podcast, not podcast. this live. It feels like a podcast.
Yeah.
On this live stream, isn't technically. I wouldn't say it's technically canon because I'm talking pretty loosely. But I will say this: the raccoons. Do they have a guardian? Yes and no. I would say they are a branch of the bear tribe, but they're more nomadic. And so the raccoons themselves are obviously just animals, but are there like people that sort of revere the raccoons? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if they did, they would be a sort of a branch of the bear tribe. But as far as like a raccoon guardian, I'm not sure. It's definitely raccoon characters, but they're more obsessed with finding loot than spiritual matters.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm missing someone.
Well, you are missing some. Do you want some help?
Where are you? I have your
So-
stuff.
The shaman you're looking for right now.
Uh-huh.
Again, this is just maybe not official lore, but at least it's the story I tell myself. He's the last one. He's the last survivor of these people, and he's the one that if you're familiar with the lore we've been releasing about the second game about Aona, he would be Aona's father.
Oh.
So he would have been the last one that sort of returned after searching for the spirit fox and came back to the city to find everyone completely or almost completely gone. And hey, you found another staff.
Where are you?
Yeah, go up to the gate you were at before.
This one?
Unless you want to backtrack a little bit and find two of the shaman.
This one or the one before?
Here, let's do this one first. Go left. Go left. Your other left. Yeah, that way. And then a slight right. Up the after the building. Yep. Yeah, I should have been paying attention and helped you 100% this.
Huh.
And then you're gonna take this route over here. Sorry, my stream's coming a bit delayed, I think. Right there. If you scamper up that, and then you'll find a shaman in this general area. I think you passed him. There you ago.
Oh.
This guy. So the funny story about this guy is, I like to say he lost his head. Meaning when the collapse of the city and was and the plague was happening, he lost his cool. And it's visually represented by his head being on the ground. Again, these are just the stories the level designers tell themselves. Yeah, we'll grab this staff and I'll show you where Aona's father is.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. He's high up on a tower, or a destroyed tower, up in the area where you were before. So we're up this path. All right. Once we get this shaman, I'll go back to some of these questions in the chat.
Is he up here? Yes. Hello. Oh my god. So
now this is the first time I've played since the story of the second game is so nearly finished. But it's kind of interesting because this would be the first time you came back, since initially this shaman is the one that sent the red fox Yeppy away with his child. For those of you who have the art and lore book, on the very last page, there's a drawing of Yeppy with a baby on his back, and that baby is this shaman's daughter named Aona.
My god.
And she is sort of responsible for being the first shaman in another land.
This is a defining moment for me. It's like coming back to an ancient world, like literally ancient world to discover your roots or someone else's roots.
If we ever do like a remastered version, we'll have to have a special moment when you give the staff back to him. Okay, Blahuga has a few curious questions. Why are there Unreal Engine mannequins in places of each shaman? You might have to clarify that question.
Might have been because he was modding?
It might be because you were modding, yeah. And the Unreal Engine mannequin is like the default mannequin, so I don't know if something was broken, it would maybe show up on a skeletal mesh. I'm not sure. Question 2. I've not been able to find any promotional media on this. There are many unseen level sequences named shot_odd number, and they just have cinematic shots. Where there's shots that are not in the game files now, there are missing numbers in these shots in the game files. I couldn't tell you. I mean, at this point, I don't remember, but development isn't super clean, and things get numbered, things get deleted, and so number sequences don't always line up. There's lots of things that existed once but don't anymore, so it's hard to say. But I'm guessing that the shots you're talking about are some kind of sequencer shots. And also we did use a lot of like marketplace content or reused marketplace content, so it's hard to say what files you've found. Question 3. Is there any cool reason as to why there are alternate lane animations for the fox, including transition, idle breakers, etc.? Yes, so the original idle animation for the fox laying down, he sort of lays down kind of like in a lazy dog pose, like on his side. But it didn't seem right, and so it was eventually replaced with the curled up fox. So that's why the other one doesn't exist anymore, because the curled up version was a replacement to it.
All the people watching, like, game devs or something, all the questions sound like game dev questions.
Those 3 particular questions were from Blahuga, who is
right.
from our community, but he actively likes to mod and reverse engineer games. So that's why. Which I'm okay with. It's fun. Oh. I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm not. So I'm reading Blahuga's comments, and I'm not sure exactly where he's seen the mannequin skeletal mesh, but yeah, the shaman, you might see on the shaman because they have fairly. There's a lot going on in their character. They have essentially there's actually like 2 of them. So there's one that's, I'm trying to remember how does it work. There's essentially one that renders the ghost material, and another version that renders essentially a material that you don't see, and that material is used to cull out the inside triangles. So when you see the ghosts, the spirits, you don't see like the inside edges of like behind their arm or folds in the fabric. It's kind of hard to describe. Fox Slime, the alternate asks the alternate lane animation didn't work well on all surfaces, right? Yes. Yeah, that was another issue. It wouldn't match the surface as well, whereas the curled up version was easy to sort of rotate slightly and plop anywhere. I think this jump puzzle might be the hardest part mechanically of the game, where some people get stuck permanently, unable to progress because they can't solve the jump. No, not what you already did. What you already did.
This one?
No, you don't go up farther. I'm doing.
So yeah, okay.
You probably can escape the map somehow, but that would be like hardcore mode. No, looks like you're missing one.
Oh.
I keep forgetting there's no fall damage in this game.
Yeah.
Hexhound asks, do we get to have multiple wisps in Spirit of the North 2? I thought I remember multiple in a demo. Yes. So wisps As far as the lore of this world go, wisps are a diminished spirit. It's sort of a lesser form of a spirit. And that spirit doesn't have to be a guardian or a fox, or in any case, it could be any animal. But yes, there are wisps in the second game.
I know all about that. I would. How come this is grayed out?
Oh,
Need to get
so in this
something else.
game, the wisp has to be with you in order to use your spirit bark,
Ah,
and it looks like
oh,
she
so
has found that pressure plate
okay.
very helpfully. Hopefully, she isn't broken. But you could, you don't need to be in spirit form. So you already did this part. Something got messed up. You should be able to. You know what? You can make her come back to you if you go bark at a flower. Okay. Now you should be able to destroy it.
Nice.
I don't know who designed this game. It's so funny. So this, for those of you who don't know, this first game was made by Jacob and I, almost exclusively. We had a tiny bit of help from a programmer for doing some small engine modifications, and then of course we also had our composer. Other than that, it was Jacob and I. And before we made this game, we were just artists. What's called an environment artist, meaning we would do environment props for games, and we were just doing contracts for different studios. And
No.
so this game was very much a learning experience for us. It was our first time sort of moving beyond the art. So it's not perfect, but we learned a lot. And I think we told the story and created the experience we wanted to in the time we had.
Did you say Jacob did all the sound effects?
Yeah, so we use sound libraries for sort of the base building blocks of different sounds. But yeah, a lot of the sounds are kit bashed, you could say, and by Jacob.
Wow.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah.
And the wisp sounds I did, that one was kind of interesting because the wisp sounds are actually different dog whimpers. Like think of like a golden retriever or a dog, like they're kind of whimpering sounds they do, or when they're begging. Well, it started with that, but then we inverted those sounds, added reverb, then switched them around. Like I just basically manipulated them over and over and over again in different ways until this is what was left.
Was it an actual dog sound that you recorded, or?
It was from a sound library.
Yeah.
There was like 9 different whimpers or loops, and I sort of I did all that stuff to them, and then I went through and kind of picked out different inflections in the sound. So like they sound like questions, or they sound like, the wisp is trying to get your attention. Like there's different tones, like speech patterns that inherently sound like different things. So I kind of like handpicked, where the sounds go up or down.
So would you say developing this game, like, you kind of had to learn a lot of new things and broaden your horizon, so to speak?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely.
Oh.
I think that's why game development is fun. Or at least indie game development is fun, is because you get to think of something and then you get the enjoyment of trying to figure out how to do it. Or, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times there's only certain things you can do, and so you sort of design around that.
Hey, that Clyde River looks good. Oh.
The stream is coming through a little pixelated. Kind of grainy.
Yeah. I could try switching to 1080.
Are you doing 4K right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like 720. Or maybe I'll just turn off auto. No, it's still bad.
It might be my settings.
It just looks like it's compressed. A lot of artifacts.
Are you watching Discord or YouTube?
Both.
Both
Look
okay.
this way.
Should I stop and try changing?
We'll let the people decide. Now, we'll just leave it for now. We'll take it as a lesson learned, and next time we can try and get a little better. We have about 15 more minutes. Okay. Did I miss anybody's questions? Will the second game be on Game Pass? Did you see good numbers with Game Pass with the first game? I don't know if the second game will be on Game Pass. I would imagine eventually at some point it probably will be. Generally, how Game Pass works is the publisher and Microsoft, or this is also true for other platforms and their equivalents. They essentially strike a deal, and Microsoft will pay a lump sum to the publisher, and in exchange to have the game on Game Pass for a week, a month, or a year. So typically, I don't think the game will be on Game Pass out of the gate. I think it'll be something that happens after launch. So the game will be, probably around for a long time before it's on Game Pass. But I could be wrong. It really depends on what deals are made, and that's largely to do with what the publisher can manage. And did we see good numbers with Game Pass from the first game? I don't know if I've actually seen the numbers. I know when the game is free, either like on Epic Game Store or like free for a week on any platform, there are massive amounts of downloads. It's hard to say how many of those people actually played, because a lot of people, and we're all the same, we all do this, when a game goes for free, everyone just downloads it just so it's in their library. So we see millions and millions of downloads when the game is on these services. As far as copies of this game sold, this first game has sold over 500,000 copies. And then there's millions more that people have downloaded from during these streaming services or sorry, not streaming services, Game Pass, things like that. Elekamo Can't Do This asks, where did Aona's father come from?
Ooh.
That's actually in the art and lore book. I mean, it doesn't speak about him specifically, but we do know the people from this area. And I call this valley that we're in right now the Valley of Stone. The people who settled here, it doesn't say much about them because that's pretty old history, but it does say that they were travelers and they had wandered into this northern area and had settled this area because they had seen the spirit fox or paint the sky with the aurora, and so out of reverence for the fox, they settled here. Because there really was no other reason to settle this area because it was cold, harsh. There's no trees, and so life was a real struggle for them. But they found sort of purpose and more meaning to life in watching the northern lights, and sort of inspired their great works. Elekamo Can't Do This also asks, is there a shapeshifter in this game? No, not in this game, and not exactly in the second game. There's there aren't people turning into animals and animals into people, if that's what you mean. Are you going backwards?
I'm looking for the trigger for the cannon.
Oh. I'll let you figure it out. Bongo asks, right off the bat, when planning Spirit of the North 2, were there any mechanics you immediately knew you wanted to keep from the first game, and and any you felt that you could do without? Thinking. So, it's a long time ago. So we've been working on the second game for about 5 years. The first thing that comes to mind is just the overall. This isn't necessarily an ability, but it is sort of the mechanics around the player's movement. Was part of the biggest complaint or constructive feedback we got about the first game, is that it's hard to control sometimes, and the capsule around the fox is rather large in the first game, and so when you're jumping, it's easy to bump into things, and it can be frustrating, especially for casual gamers. So that was something we knew we had to rebuild, and we did, and we worked on it for many years, like maybe not only on that, but it was definitely a huge focus in the first year, and continued to be modified and polished, for the next 3 years. Other abilities, Dash and Spirit Form were very popular. I think everyone really likes Dash, and we haven't gotten to that part yet, but we will shortly. And I think everybody, I like Spirit Form quite a bit. It's fun to create puzzles for Spirit Form. So those two abilities we knew we wanted to keep or reintroduce in some way. Spirit bark was less important because it doesn't. Spirit bark was more part of the story. It's less. Doesn't really serve a great purpose for solving puzzles. I mean, it's you just walk up and hold down a button. So that one I wasn't super convinced that we needed to keep, and also because in the second game you don't have the spirit fox with you, and that was so that one we cut. And then anything else did I miss? In the second game, as you guys may be aware, you have a raven companion that travels with you, and there's a glide ability, which is probably the most significant change, and is a massive part of the gameplay. You can't just throw and there's fall damage, so you can't just throw yourself off cliffs willy-nilly, and you got to use glide and dash and your different abilities to navigate safely. Devs, option on air control.
No.
I guess that's a question? There's so there's no in this game there's 0 air control other than dashing. Beluga says, I hear complaints about the lack of air control in the first game sometimes. Yeah, there's a little bit of, it's a little more loose in the second game. So in the first game, in order for a lot of the puzzles to work, there has to be no air control because we have to control exactly where you land. So if you go into a jump gate, we want it to land you in a very specific spot, so that so if they're chained together, the puzzles work. That's one reason why there's no air control. But in the second game, that's not quite an issue because we expect you to do a lot of different things in the air. So there's a little bit of flexibility to moving in air. Yeah, it's all it. Beluga says it's a bit unrealistic if you can control your trajectory so much while airborne. Yeah, I agree. It's a hard balance. If it doesn't exist, it can just be difficult to play a game because it's too punishing for jumping, in the wrong direction. I think a lot of games will give you a tiny bit of control, but it's a hard balance. Too much gets really weird, and oh, you just missed it.
Oh, so I can't. No.
I shouldn't have said anything. It's totally optional. We got about 5 more minutes, so I think we can finish up this chapter.
Ah. Okay, one more go. Yeah, I see what you mean about air control. No!
Yeah, dash kills your momentum completely. So you gotta time it just
Oh,
right. Wait till the very last moment,
oh, okay.
like when you're almost level with that platform, and then dash. So close. I don't remember being this hard.
I suck at games.
Man,
Okay, one last
that's
go. One last go.
that's a cruel puzzle. You got this.
Okay.
Oh.
Moving on.
One thing I like about the first game is dashing in water, though. It's like you're a dolphin fox. Or maybe we won't finish this chapter, but we'll at least get to maybe the checkpoint right before you start seeing.
Oh, I see balls.
I liked making this area. I mean, with Jacob, of course. Is Grimnir going to go to the Daddy Pig concert? What are these questions? Wait, I don't know what Daddy Pig is.
Oh, so I can't dash if I'm not infused.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a big difference between this and the second game. This game, you have to infuse yourself.
Yep.
Then use it. In the second game, that's not the case. You're always infused.
Ooh.
All right, if any of you have questions, now's the time to ask. We're going to be ending the playthrough here very shortly. You can ask Sammi. You can ask Sammi anything, and he won't know better. He'll just answer. I have a question for you, Sammi. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Infuse Studio.
Oh.
What were you doing before you started making a game about a fox?
So I was originally a video / filmmaker, and I started learning Unreal Engine about 3-4 years ago. I think it was during the pandemic that I started learning, because I was spending so much time on my computer anyway. So I wanted to learn to make films on the computer without having to meet people. And then and then I started a YouTube channel, which resulted in you guys. Did you or Jacob find one of my videos?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I thought they were very funny. And also very informational. So I can't remember what I was trying to learn, but I think I had seen some of the. Had you done any like level design? I probably saw.
Oh
that
yeah,
you were,
like
were
a
fairly good at
speed building video, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were looking for help with for level design and level art because the world was so big.
So
I think that's what. And so I think I had a perfect portfolio of all, like a bunch of your work, and I had a good idea of what your personality was. I was like, okay, I think he'll be a good fit.
So yeah, YouTube channel as a portfolio.
That's good. We should post your YouTube videos because I know a lot of people in the community like using Unreal Engine, and you have some fun tutorials they might like.
That's good to know. So in the end, I got an email from Jacob, and I remember this moment vividly because it was on my son's 5th birthday, and so we were having a party at like a kids cafe, and yeah, I saw the email on my phone. You know, like at first I thought it was a spam because it was something about Unreal Engine, like, you know, probably like a newsletter that I subscribed to. Yeah, so I almost did not read it, but thankfully I did, and then and then yeah, after that it was like a few meetings, and then I was on the team.
Nice, you passed the first test. First test. Is he organized enough to check his email and find the email? Okay, just past this gate, after this current puzzle you're about to do,
Okay.
there's a checkpoint. I think we can call it there. Did you, before you worked with us on Spirit of the North 2, did you ever think that you would ever do environment art, like level design? Is that something you ever considered? Or did that kind of just fall in your lap?
It did kind of fall in my lap because I was with Unreal Engine. If I got anywhere, I was thinking virtual production or cinematics, which I am doing sort of, but I did not think I would be primarily doing label design and environment art. Okay, doesn't. Do I need spirit form? That doesn't.
Oh, so close.
Okay, need to be more patient. More patience.
I should have you critique. These are the first puzzles young developer Taylor ever made.
Ah! Yes.
Go, go, go!
Oh, so it doesn't recharge? Yeah.
So a lot of people I don't know this. I think you can run all the way to the stone, but if you get Spirit Bloom while in spirit form, it will reset. But in this game, you have to. It takes a second for the wisp to cause it to bloom.
Oh, so it does recharge. Huh.
Wow, the physics. The lack of physics.
Yes.
Yeah, the wisp's movement is essentially, or the wisp is animated with splines. Foxline in the chat was commenting on them. Yeah, think of something following a spline, which I guess you could think of like a line in 3D space. And then think of that spline following another spline. So you have like layers. So the wisp has little animations where it does like a loop or a spiral. Like these are just sort of idle things it does. And it does those continuously. And then on top of that, it's also that whole thing is following another spline. And so you have these layers, and that kind of is what gives you the wisp's sort of fluid movement, where it's trying to interpolate to these spline paths.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, cool.
Wrap it up here.
What do you think so far?
It's like the environment, considering it's a 5-year-old game, is amazing. And there's a couple of stuff that I want to take to the second game that we don't have. Yeah. I'll talk to you that later. But yeah, okay. Awesome. I can't believe you made a game with just the two of you.
Hey, look, there's a little hut up there on the hill.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever actually looked at that. Yeah. Thanks for playing, Sammy. It's fun to revisit it. And there's definitely a lot that's different from this game to the next one. There's part of me that's like, oh, this is so painful for me to watch. There's so many things we learned, but at the same time, like, yeah, we're both. I mean, Jacob and I are very proud of it. and happy that so many people have played it and have enjoyed it. All right.
How many more sessions do you think we'll need for me to finish this?
Probably 2.
2. Okay.
Yeah. Probably 2. All right. Thank you guys all for coming and watching and for the questions. We'll do this again next Tuesday. And yeah, bring lots of questions. It's been real fun. Bye.
Bye.